Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about the latest chapter of Toriko that was just released today. Now this chapter was very interesting. Basically it starts off, as you guys know if you've read it, boom, everyone, every animal, human, they sense something's amiss and they just gravitate towards eating the best food that they can so that they will not regret anything when they die, because they sensed a potential destruction of the world because of the strength of this Monkey King who had now released his true form. I suspect that the other kings, the other animals that are like the top animals of the Toriko universe, did not get this urge. They were just like, oh, look at these fools, look at these tiny animals going crazy. He's not going to destroy the world, and even if he does, we will survive because we're just as strong, if not stronger than him. And again, that makes me want to speculate on which of the kings are the strongest and which ones aren't, but who knows. Again, it's just like speculation in One Piece, like who's the strongest Yonko? We don't know yet. Anyhow, back on Toriko, I think the most interesting thing was, there's a lot of interesting things, but the first one is the fact that the demons are really, there's a very clear concept that's now been put forth on what their demons are. And in this chapter, we see them emerge forth and in a very innovative way save all four of these heavenly kings from dying. Basically, their demons are like, shoot, we know this, we don't want to die because we are inside of you, and we need to save you because you're not strong enough to survive this or even react to it. So they emerged, took control of what they could, which was their arms, which distorted their mastery of Enbu and made the 100 times gravity actually act on them, which pulled them down and allowed them to, for that instant, dodge a attack from this Monkey King. It's very innovative. And it really just puts forth like what these demons are. Obviously, I'm most interested in Toriko's two demons, but it seems like I very much like the flavor of how these demons are. Like, this definitely could have been turned into a very kiddie, childish sort of manga where it's just like a friendly demon who helps you out inside. But this one, it's very different because it's definitely made to be a more mature content sort of style, with these demons inside that seem very dark and wicked in certain ways and exceptionally strong, and they're coming out almost for their own selfish means. Like, they don't, especially Toriko's Toriko's main demon, which we've seen from the start, it seems to be like this guy who like enjoys eating a lot and is somewhat sided with Toriko, but then his second demon pops out, making him unique among the four kings, which makes sense because the whole manga is called Toriko. And it seems like this one, at least, maybe both of them, seem to have somehow been trapped into him and only care about themselves and only really are worried about Toriko because they realize that if the person who houses us dies, then we die. Which reminds me of Naruto, I'm not going to lie. It reminds me of Naruto because you see these Kyubis, you see these big tailed beasts who are encapsulated in humans, Jinchuriki, and they only care about the person captivating them because if they die, then they potentially would die themselves. So they act and manifest out only for their own selfish means. So it's very interesting how this comes about. And I guess the last big part about this is the end. Like, this was a very simple chapter, not gonna lie. So the ending is what seems to be Komatsu waking up, and this character, this neutral character, I forgot his name, but the guy with the turban, seemingly, at least it appeared to be based off how they drew this character, as she or he, whatever gender he is, I don't think it's ever been revealed, or if she has a gender, but you see her just like bypass these Terry and the crew who are guarding Komatsu, and they're like, the narration goes that they are concentrated on protecting Komatsu, and they are sensing every particle that passes them. But for some reason, they were unable to sense her stealth, and she or he passed them, as you guys know because you've read the chapter. And based on how he was drawn, it seemed like he or she had very dark intentions. The way his face was drawn, his eyes, everything down to how he moved and how dark he was. It seemed like he wanted to kill Komatsu or do something else, like steal the book that was taken by Komatsu in the pyramid, which makes sense because maybe this book has secrets or stuff like that. And I think it's just very interesting because it's like, on one end, it makes sense because you can't trust these Nichiro completely. Like, you just met these people, and it's like you can't fully trust them because they can paint the story of, oh, I want to help you, but you can't believe it. And if you guys remember, initially when Toriko and the crew met this guy, they were like, if you even come close to even touching Komatsu or backstabbing us, we will come for your life. And they made it was clear that they didn't fully trust them because there's this one instance when this Nichiro offered, hey, I will take care and protect Komatsu on my own. You guys go off and go ahead and take Pear from Monkey King. And Toriko and the crew, the other Kevlin Kings, made a very smart move, which was, hey, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to trust you. I'm going to take this with myself. And I think this is, I very much love the author for doing stuff like this. This sort of mature, more complicated nuances of human nature. And I think you don't see that in more childlike manga like Fairy Tail. You don't see these sort of nuanced things where it's like this guy doesn't trust this guy even though he presents himself as a very trustworthy character and so forth. And I very much like it. I think it could go deeper though. It's obviously not as complex as something like Sherlock Holmes, the books, not the cartoons. But I still fairly much like it. And again, the plot twister at the end is Komatsu wakes up, turns around, and he seems very healthy. Now we will see what happens from here. The Nichiro can play it two ways. If he is really evil, he could play it in two ways. One is, all of a sudden turn all lovey-dovey again because he doesn't want to put himself in a dangerous situation where he tries to kill Komatsu or tries to steal his book and kills him, which he can. Komatsu has no fighting skill really right now. I think he will in the future though. But he'll escape, and then Terry and the crew will immediately sense that, and they'll be fighting, and it'll be hard to escape. And then Toriko's gonna, probably gonna turn on him because now he's pissed that Komatsu's dead. It's not a good situation, and he probably won't get out there alive. So most likely, his wisest move is just to play. If he is evil, play the lovey-dovey card again and say, "Oh, Komatsu, I came here to help you and heal you and check on you." Or something like that. Or the other thing would just be to go full out and just kill Komatsu and steal his book. Or, there's that potential last alternative, which is that I'm completely wrong and this guy is nice, and although it's depicted very darkly, which is the author's intention, it could be a plot twister and he's actually good, and it was intended by the author to make it seem like this guy was evil. So those were the only alternatives I can think. The author, I admire his way of thinking, and he obviously has these three choices to choose from. And unless I'm missing something, I feel like it's generally how it is. And again, there's no other alternative I can really think of. It's not like a very intense manga like Attack on Titan with so many alternatives and you really have to think it through. So I think the plot twister at the end really implies that Komatsu may have healed himself, which I think is amazing for the author to just pull that out of his head. he's like, why don't I make it so that Komatsu healed himself because he gained these new abilities? And if you guys didn't notice, there's an allusion to his abilities, because at that last moment when he had to prepare the fruit, the rainbow fruit, or what, it wasn't rainbow fruit, it was something other, something else, and he had to prepare it. I think it was air, and it seemed like he couldn't, and then all of a sudden his eyes turned like ridiculously cool, really badass, and then his whole body turned really badass, and all of a sudden he just like prepared the fruit at light speed. So I feel like that was him awakening, maybe not his inner demon. I don't think I've seen any chefs with inner demons, but like his inner chef powers. And we already know that he has this one, I mean, in terms of chefs, he's like one, he's probably the only one out of all the chefs out there who has this unique, exceptional amount of food luck. So he's obviously very gifted, and it's all very interesting to see. And I feel like, yeah, he did heal himself, and it makes sense because I think I trust this author for Toriko, and I really do think that he's not someone to really just screw things up and just completely distort power levels, because it's very clear even from the get-go that they barely even had a chance to get pair from this Monkey King when they gauged his power level before he had showed his true form, and they thought that they only had to play with him. Now he wants to kill them, and it wouldn't make any sense unless some severe power boost was given to them for them to beat the Monkey King and by force take pair. So if that was to be able to have been accomplished, it's just like you completely distorted the power levels, and that's, I think, a huge error that separates Dragon Ball Z from other manga, like I'm not gonna mention which ones, who just like play around with power levels just because, or they don't really keep track of them. It wouldn't make logical sense, and it seems like this is the logical route for Komatsu to still survive in the time limit given, and at the same time for Toriko to not be able to defeat this Monkey King. And so my theory is that Komatsu somehow healed himself with this hidden power that's slowly being unleashed that he's starting to discover. And I don't think he will discover it. He's just like, it's kind of weird, I got healed, I don't know why. But it's all very interesting. Thanks for watching. As always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. I'm really trying to grow this channel, if you guys don't know. But unfortunately, I'm putting in a lot of time on my main YouTube channel. So I'm always on YouTube, whether it's this channel, my main channel, Facebook, on Twitter. Check me out on there. I'm somewhere online. It's just there's only so much time in a day to devote to every little thing. And if this channel can really grow, I do have a small community here, but if it can really grow, and I definitely see some, you know, I'm very grateful for my small group of 20 people who watch these videos. But if it can grow, then I may be able to devote more time to it. But again, if you're wondering, or if you have any requests for a specific manga or stuff like that, leave a comment, or let me know what you think, because again, you know, I can't satisfy everyone. So most likely this will be my only review for this week, despite me reading and keeping up with all the manga I watch. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you're interested, check out my main channel. I talk about success, making money, what really matters in terms of achieving happiness, having a great lifestyle, and living a full life on my main channel, which you can find a link for on my about section of this channel, or you can just go to the URL directly, which is youtube.com/willyouLaugh. That's WILLYOULAUGH. And thanks so much for watching. And again, I'm always on YouTube. It's just I don't have time to do everything. So don't get pissed if I don't upload this week's Bleach manga review. I'm still watching it. I'm still keeping up. Thanks. See you guys later.